So, welcome to another episode of Culture Craft. We're doing things a little bit differently this time. And the spirit of this episode, no, already no, Dave. The spirit of this episode is we wanted kind of a catch all format for all the little stories that we are obsessed with.
I think we're doing it.
We're not doing culture critters. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. So we wanted to do like a roundup style episode where all the little stories that have caught our fancy that don't quite fit the format of the show can get told so this is our first foray into this, but each of us will take turns doing a little bit of a mini story. And hopefully this works well because we all have so many topics that we have to not talk about because they don't center around a single person or a single design, or they don't really make sense. So
yeah, or we'll come across things that is just an interesting anecdote, but it's not really enough. You know, someone invented one thing, but they didn't live a life that really made a cultural shift.
or they were just boring.
Yeah.
So boring.
Good at one thing.
There's a lot of things made by really deeply, profoundly boring people.
Yeah. Most things, actually.
Yeah.
Like, most people are just kind of like they're good at the one thing they do. And then they just do it.
Just go home to their stupid families.
Yeah.
Oh, we can talk about those little critters on here.
Why? Okay, so
I was against it with all of my heart until this moment.
because I'm
No.
okay, so the working title is Culture Critters. Even though these are not about critters in any way.
Nope.
I'm for culture cuties.
I like Culture Cuties.
Culture Cuties is pretty
but
good.
it's also misleading.
It's not right.
Nothing I'm going to talk about today is cute.
Critter Cuties.
Yeah, just fully move away from the whole.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know. Can you at least make the rationale for Culture Critters?
Okay, when you think of a critter,
I think of an animal.
you think of a little animal. A little tiny baby animal that's small and cute and nimble. And might eat cheese or some kind.
Oh my gosh.
And these episodes are dedicated to 3 smaller stories about cute little nimble people who probably also eat cheese. Or events.
What if
that are
we do a
cheese-based.
rotating episode that's just about cheeses?
We could do an episode about cheeses.
Okay.
You know what? We're going to leave it to Fan.
Yeah.
To help us decide.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, so today, bear with us. We're kind of figuring out the structure of this for the first time.
Yeah.
And how it's going to go. It's going to be probably usually a little bit less visually based, but not always.
Yeah.
We're still going to talk about people who do the visual designs that it helps to look at. But they'll each be a little bit shorter, snappier, and not necessarily centered around one person.
Yeah, hopefully.
I can get started on
what's critter number
my
1?
my little critter for today.
Yeah.
I'm excited about yours.
Mine is gonna be kind of fun. I think I'm just gonna talk about the English Civil War, mostly the first English Civil War. So real nail biter of a topic. But I'm gonna do it by talking about women who were involved in the fighting.
Gross.
Kind of throughout. We don't really think of like the 1600s as being a time when women were really on the forefront of
When was Mulan?
anything. Oh, I do not know.
I would believe 2000
but
BC,
no, before
and I would also believe 1920.
According to Disney, Mulan was fighting
the Huns.
The Huns,
which I don't think is
also a long time. So I don't know. I don't know about Mulan, and I'm so sorry about that. I'm sorry to this man. But we will talk about the English Civil War today.
Okay.
And some women doing some women fighting stuff.
Okay.
And I think so. I'm hoping that kind of through these little culture cuties, we get some context for the world. It's both. It's anything. We haven't decided yet. It's up in the air. That we'll get some context for the world in which the creators that we talk about are living.
Yeah.
So in order to do that today, I want to start with like a cultural center that I think everybody will recognize Elizabeth I. Like I say Elizabeth I, everyone kind of knows when and where we are, right? So Elizabeth I of England.
I doubt it. I mean, you're sure. I don't think so.
Okay, Elizabeth I.
I mean, it's not like it's Victoria.
Okay. Is Elizabeth I less known than Victoria?
I don't know.
I have no idea. I just named the one other queen.
They were more
Elizabeth
than that.
is the crown, right?
Elizabeth was the queen.
No, that's
Elizabeth II, and you know that.
And which one was the car accident?
How dare you?
And she was a beanie baby, I think.
How dare you besmirch
Princess Anne, right?
Yeah,
Princess Anne.
Yeah.
I'm cutting all of this.
I think I'm editing this one.
You're cutting all of this.
Oh, it's definitely not going to be Culture Critters then.
Every time we say Culture Critters, it's just
yeah.
Or just Ian dubbing our voice.
Yeah,
with whatever I come up with.
Whatever he comes up with.
I can't complain because I haven't come up with anything better, so.
It's me, and then it's just his voice. Cultural context. All right. So Elizabeth I is the daughter of Henry VIII. Henry VIII is the one with all the wives. Remember Anne Boleyn, the ones that he beheads.
Henry the gout.
And the gout. Well, lots of them had gout. But Henry VIII starts the Anglican Church in order to divorce his first wife. The Pope doesn't want him to do it. So he's like, well, then we just won't be Catholic anymore. Me and my country, we're just not going to be Catholic anymore. So he starts the Anglican Church and kind of starts, at least in his country, a tension from then on between Protestants and Catholics. There's really big tension there. But Elizabeth didn't really care. Elizabeth wasn't really, she didn't really mind what you were.
Nothing. It's just that tension probably never boils over.
No,
right?
no. There's no history in Europe of the Protestants and the Catholics fighting each other for no reason.
Certainly not.
It's only the major driving force of the next 4 centuries. Yeah. But yeah, so Elizabeth, though, his daughter, doesn't really mind too much where people land there. And it's not just Anglicanism. In fact, Anglicanism is the most Catholic of all the Protestantisms. Mm-hmm. So, but Martin Luther has started his reform movement as well. So there's now Presbyterians and Baptists and all this other stuff is Methodists. Things are lurking in the woodwork. Yeah, Lutherans obviously are all lurking in the woodwork too, and they are moving further and further away from Catholicism. They don't only reject the Pope like Anglicanism does. They reject bishops and they reject all sorts of Catholic ceremony type things. They're moving further and further away from that. So that's brooding in the background. But Elizabeth's kind of just she's seen a lot of people fighting about it in her lifetime, and she's just kind of doesn't want to deal with that. So, but Elizabeth dies without an heir. She famously never gets married, dies without an heir. So the King of Scotland is her nearest relative, James I. So then James becomes King of Scotland and also King of England, Ireland, Wales. They're still separate countries. He's just king of both of them.
That's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He also gets 2 numbers, doesn't he? He's like James the 6th.
Yes,
Scotland,
he's James. Yes,
the 1st or 2nd.
He's James. I think he is James the 6th of Scotland, but James the 1st of England. I'll refer to him as James the 1st because we're really talking about the English Civil Wars. But he is, I believe, the 6th James in Scotland and the 1st in England.
So stupid.
Mm-hmm. But he's kind of a party king, so he's not really too bothered about where you fall religiously either. He just kind of wants. He's described as pretty debauched, but so he's doing his own thing. But he does eventually die, and his son Charles I starts to kind of really care. He's kind of a party pooper, is Charles I, but he does marry Henrietta Maria of France, and she's Catholic. And that's not everybody's favorite thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He is still the head of the Anglican Church. But again, the Anglican Church is a little popish for everybody else's taste.
Yeah.
They're still doing a lot of the the Catholic prayer books and things like that. So people are a little wary of him and his Catholic wife. But he, on the other hand, is very authoritarian. He ascribes very much to God put me on this throne, and in God's name I will make whatever decision I want to and do whatever I feel like doing, and without compromising in any way. So he decides he wants to unite the kingdoms under Anglicanism. And he's also kind of a bit of a dolt about people, as you'll see. But he starts what's called, because of him, what starts first is called the Bishops' War. And that starts in Scotland. So Scotland, the Highlands of Scotland are pretty famously Catholic. All the like Scottish ditties and things you hear are all about like fighting for Prince Charlie, who's Charles I's son. But the lowlands, the political places in Scotland and the lowlands, which are closer to England, are very heavily Presbyterian.
Okay.
Like deeply Presbyterian. But Charles decides that he's going to insist that these Presbyterian churches use his Anglican book of prayer. And this
That seems real Catholic
in the 17th century is fighting words.
Yeah.
So he also decides that this rule is going to be enforced by bishops, which he insists that they continue to use bishops, which is like a real popish for these Presbyterians. They're not all about it.
Yeah.
So they about to fight. And in fact, they do. At the first service where the new prayer book was read, the women in the church all stand up and begin throwing their prayer books at the bishop's head. And Jenny Geddes, she stands up and she lobs her stool, hits him with her stool.
Oh, shit.
And so the bishops have to flee. And that's actually the picture I have.
Can you just imagine having a church full of angry Scottish women throwing books and stools at you?
So this is a picture of Jenny hurling her stool right at his head, immortalized. And there's a monument to her in one of the Scottish museums of her.
I love her.
Yeah.
Essentially starting the Bishops' Wars, because this started a whole riot.
Led by women?
The women were the ones who started throwing their prayer books at them, and then it spread to the whole city, and everybody was up in arms about these prayer books. But yeah, basically, women started the Bishops' War, and this riot leads to a congregation of the Scottish leaders as well as representatives from Charles. They meet in Edinburgh. Here's a note. Nobody in England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, nobody throughout both of these civil wars, through the Bishops' War and the First Civil War, nobody wants Charles. Not only do they not want him to die, they don't want him to stop being king. Like, they believe that he's king because God put him there.
Yeah.
They just need him to compromise at all. And Charles is adult. He refuses to do it. In fact, I heard one of the historians who I was listening to talking about the Civil War described him as, they said the whole English Civil War is basically just because he was really bad at HR. Like he was just a poor human resource manager.
Yeah.
So they meet, they're wanting to compromise with him, they're wanting to figure these things out, but because it's these people's religion, there's no compromise on either side. And thus the country erupts into the Bishops' War. Now, fighting the Bishops' War costs a lot of money. And so Charles, he waits as long as he can, but eventually he runs out. And he has to do something that he's avoided doing for 11 years, desperately avoided doing for 11 years. He has to call a parliament.
Oh.
And
not a good look.
He needs a parliament because he has to get the lords to agree to pay him. But when they call parliament, they can enact all sorts of laws and rules that he doesn't want. So, but he does this. He calls a parliament, and he knows they're already mad at him because he spent all these 11 years figuring out creative ways of taxing them within the laws without their consent. And so there's a law where at certain times you have to provide a ship So for defense of the country, this old law. So, but no one had used it for hundreds of years. He reenacted it and it was like, everybody in the country, you have to provide a ship. But if you can't provide the ship, you just have to pay me the money of the ship. So that the different ways of this, he's like coming up with different ways of taxing them. And a few of his lords at one point say they refuse to pay. They say, this is unlawfully taxed. I refuse to pay. And he has them arrested. And there's a court that's held to determine whether or not it was lawful that they be taxed. And it's determined that it was illegal for them to be taxed. But as Charles is the king, he can arrest whoever he wants. So it doesn't matter anyway.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the parliament comes in and they say, you're not going to do that anymore. You're going to give us there's going to be some rules. There's some limits on your power. There's going to be some things that you can't do. And you have to call a parliament every 3 years, whether you want to or not, so that we can make more rules.
He takes that well.
He does not take that well.
Oh, that's surprising.
He decides to have the leaders of the parliament arrested. Because, again, he feels like he can do whatever he wants. Funnily enough, he's a little bit behind, misinformed about who the leaders of the parliament really are. So he puts out warrants for really people who were leaders like 5 to 10 years ago and really aren't anymore. So
he's so bad.
But he shows up on the day he storms. He's not really allowed into parliament without invitation. He storms in with his guards on the day to arrest these guys. But he's been betrayed and they knew he was coming, so they're gone. Parliament is empty. He realizes he's been betrayed from the inside and he flees. He runs. He leaves the city. He runs up to York and he starts gathering an army around him. And this gathering of army and arms starts the first English Civil War.
Okay.
So the English Civil War, a lot of simplified versions will say it's Protestantism and Catholicism and things like that. Those were very much used. Protestants were pitted against Catholics, against Anglicans. But the true power struggle was Parliament versus the king. Mm-hmm.
So just to clarify, the Bishop War, who was that?
That's
between?
just Scotland.
Okay. North and South Scotland.
No, Scotland fighting England.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's and that's the Scottish Parliament fighting Charles. Now the English Parliament is also fighting Charles.
Goddamn Charles.
He just can't get along with anybody.
Yeah.
So now the first English Civil War has started. And there will be a lot of really cool women who take part in this war. One of them is referred to as she refers to herself as the Generalissima of the Royalist Army. And that is Henrietta Maria, his Catholic wife. So she is 33 years old and Charles is gathering an army. He's gathering weapons, but all of his lords are against him. So she decides to go to Holland. She takes a ship to Holland to gather guns, cannons, all these other things.
Yeah.
And she returns with all this weaponry. And her ships, when she gets back into English waters, her ships are pursued. And so she lands on English waters. Her ships are being bombarded by the ships in the ocean. The beach is being bombarded. She takes command. She gets everybody to safety. They hunker in a ditch for hours until the ships part. She's able to get she's able to get the cannons and everything down to Oxford, which is becomes the base of the Royalists. Even during the bombardment, foolishly but very bravely, she runs into her tent to get her dog. comes back to the trench.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, but she is very much in it. Not always on the front lines, although she does do things like get guns and galvanize people. But she's constantly writing throughout the war, writing and meeting with Charles, advising him to do things that he does not do. And she holds war councils. She's a diplomat. She's very, very much involved in the running of this war. And she's slandered in all the parliamentary papers and texts and everything as this hyper masculine Catholic seducer who is just, she's the reason that this is all happening. And and he would be a good Protestant boy if he wasn't married to this Catholic woman who is asserting her dominance, even though she should be sitting on the sidelines. But her popish ways were corrupting the country and the king. The cannons that she got were referred to as the queen's pocket pistols.
Oh, cute. Amazing. I love that he was such a dominant personality, but his wife was not like super submissive.
No, she was not submissive to him. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how successfully. I feel like if you're a really dominant person, people you'll command some obedience. I think he wanted to be really dominant. He assumed that he should be very dominant, but in reality, he had no command over the people around him. Yeah, other than like the honorable loyalty of the royalists who followed him. Mm-hmm.
There's also nothing that unites a group of powerful men like one single competent woman.
Yeah, yes.
They'll lose their mind to badmouth her.
Exactly, and they do throughout a lot of throughout every time the parliamentarians are speaking of her, it's ill. She at later on in the war, she eventually decides she's in great danger. She's in Oxford, and decides she's in great danger and needs to flee to France. She is pregnant. She escapes Oxford, has her baby, leaves her baby, and she has to escape from Bath and where she has her baby, and she does it in disguise. She parts from all her ladies in waiting, parts from her retinue, flees in disguise, hides for 3 days under a trash pile without any food or water, because there's soldiers and things around, and makes her way to the shore, meets up with the rest of her retinue who are supposed to be meeting her there, gets on the boat to flee to France, but again, they're immediately pursued through stormy waters. They're pursued to France with cannons being fired at them. She takes command of the ship. She says, don't fire any cannons back. Put all the energy into the sails. Just get us out of here. But they continue to be pursued. All her ladies in waiting are sitting around cowering, and she's commanding the ship. And she says to the captain, if we are captured, if it looks like we're going to be captured, blow us up. So, and she says that, and like the report is, she says that, and all of her ladies go, these cowering ladies. But she's like, we will not be captured by the
rather than be a hostage
by the parliamentarians. Yeah, she won't do it. So they do make it through the storm. They make it to France, and she spends the rest of the war in the French court of her family, but still very active in sending supplies and communications and strategizing.
What happened to her child?
They're reunited, but not till later. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not her only child. That was her girl. She has.
Oh, so who cares?
Yeah, you can throw that.
Yeah, she's a girl, so it doesn't. Nobody. History's forgotten about
Germanic states.
There were also women who fought on the actual front lines of the Civil War. One of them was Anna, Lady Cunningham, and she led a mixed-race regiment of soldiers at the Battle of Berwick in Scotland. It's on the shore, so the English were trying to land. She's like a Scottish Presbyterian, trying to defend. The English were trying to land. Her son was leading the royalists who were trying to land. He had stuck with the king. And she organized everyone to build barriers, and she carried with her a pistol with silver bullets, which she said she would shoot her son with if he landed.
Oh my God, that's so incredible.
And they fought them back. The British were not able to. They lost that battle. They were not able to say. She didn't have to kill her son, but she proclaimed she had a pistol on her thing with 2 bullets in it, ready to kill her son.
So rad.
She was pretty badass.
I don't know how to feel about that.
Mm-hmm.
I keep coming up against, like, how do you believe to someone who's pretty removed from all this?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I grew up evangelical, but it's hard to understand and appreciate caring so much about that you'd be willing to turn on your own
murder
son.
your own son. Yeah.
I can't wrap my head around that. I mean, I understand it's mostly political, not just religious,
Yeah.
but still.
Yeah. I mean, who knows how. I'm sure she very much cared about her Presbyterianism, but I don't know how much of it was just like, I'm going to defend Scotland until I die, no matter what they throw at it. But but it wasn't just her. She led a mixed sex regiment. Like, there were women who were fighting on the front lines with her. Also, famously, Bristol. So the kind of the ace of the royalist army was Prince Rupert, and he led their cavalry. Their cavalry won every time. He was also very reckless, so he would like take down the cavalry of the parliamentarians, and he would then just chase after them off of the battlefield and abandon the infantry. So he was very much a wild card, but he was winning consistently, and he led a siege against the city of Bristol, and the city was being held by a colonel, and several groups of women, one of them was 200 women, came to him. That wasn't the only group of women who came to him and said, like, we've got our neighborhood, basically. Like, we're going to defend our spot. Like, use your soldiers to do other stuff. We're building barricades. We're building barriers. The women here are going to fight, because the men were off. So, like, the women were the ones who were sieged a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So they were like, we've got it. The women were storing provisions. The city of Bristol was going to be like this woman-led army. Rupert comes up, and immediately the colonel surrenders the city. So the reason we know all of these stories of these women, what they did and what the preparations that they made and what they had said to the colonel in preparation, was because that colonel was tried at court.
Oh, wow.
By the parliamentarians, and all these women came up and testified in court against him, saying like, we were ready to take it, and we were going to defend it, and he just surrendered it right away. Wow. So they all spoke out against him. And who knows? I'm sure he was quivering in his boots, and like the women who were coming up to him were not making him feel better about defending the city, but they were ready. They were rearing to go.
Die hard.
So siege was a way that a lot of these women were involved in the war. And on the other side, a lot of the noble women whose husbands, fathers, brothers were mostly fighting for the royalist army, they left. And then the parliamentarian army would come try and take over the castle. And so a lot of women were left defending off sieges to their family castle. One of those women was the Countess of Derby, and she was defending Lantham House. And her husband was sent north, and in 1643, Sir Thomas Fairfax, who was the leader of the parliamentary army, came to try and siege her home. And she said that he could not purchase her peace with the loss of her honor. And she would defend it, because what they would do was when they would siege, they would send a letter and be like, hey, if you vacate in 24 hours, basically, we won't hurt you, because they knew they were just and they were well-born women.
Yeah.
So they were like, if you vacate with your household and just give us the castle, we're not going to hurt you. And these women were like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay. And because their castles, they were built for siege, so a lot of them were able to hold out for quite a long time. And she responds to one of his. Colonel Rigby is left to siege her castle, and she responds to one of his his invitations to surrender, saying, tell that insolent rebel he shall neither have persons, goods, nor house. When our strength and provision is spent, we shall find a fire more merciful than Rigby. And then, if the providence of God prevent it not, my goods and house shall burn in his sight.
Oh.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
So
you're not winning.
No,
there's no version of winning.
But eventually, in her case, Prince Rupert does come and relieve her and save her castle. She is saved, but she holds out for months against the siege. Lady Banks, on the other hand, defends Corfe Castle for 3 years.
Whoa!
She does this with 5 soldiers.
What?
5 soldiers and a household, like, servants and things. The rest of the soldiers are gone to war, and all the men. 5 soldiers and a household defend this castle against 500 to 600 soldiers for 3 years.
How?
They have cannons.
Still.
And they would throw embers and rocks out. And it's incredible that they were able to do that.
Just imagine being one of like the 500 outside
that are just stuck there for years. Like, what are you at that point? You're just like, why am I here?
But you can do the math. And it's like, if everyone's like, all right, we all just go and we're done in a day.
I wonder
there's only 5 of them, guys.
I wonder if they knew, or if they like set it up to be like they were talking
they had like a Home Alone man.
The strings running through the castle.
Like dicks with helmets on them all over.
That's so much better.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
5 years they held out against the parliamentary army. Incredible.
I imagine that like
5 years or 3?
Oh, sorry, 3 years, 5 soldiers.
It's so deeply embarrassing to find out that you couldn't take a castle that had 5 people.
I know.
Like 5 soldiers.
Funny.
And then I don't know how large a household is.
It would. I mean, a castle worth of,
20,
I'm sure more than that.
Like,
a whole kitchen and washer people, and a castle full of people.
To run castle.
But
still,
the bad news is eventually she was betrayed from the inside.
Yeah. Why?
And the doors were opened.
At that point.
Yeah. But
I would follow her anywhere.
Right?
At that point.
At this point, you're like, you're gonna win, right? So, but the doors are open, but the parliamentary army lets her keep the keys to the castle as honor of her having. They treat her as well as they can. Just to have, they're like, that you're a foe that we don't want to.
You kind of have to, like, you can't at that point be like,
they didn't beat her. They didn't beat her.
Yeah.
She's betrayed from the inside.
That's
oh man, yeah, crazy. Some women, though, we know, did actually cross-dress to fight in the wars. They dressed up as male soldiers and joined the armies. We know this mostly because Charles publishes. There are some stories in like newspapers and things of women getting caught, but of course, not all the women would have been caught, right? One historian was saying that they didn't wash or change their clothes very regularly, so you could just kind of get away with just dressing, like cross-dressing more easily. But Charles publishes a proclamation, or writes a proclamation that says, "And yet the prostitute impudency of some women have thus conversed in our army. Therefore let no woman presume to counterfeit her sex by wearing a man's apparel under pain of the severest punishment." So it's very not very in their mind would have been very unbiblical for her to dress as a man. It's not the being in the army that they're upset with. It's the dressing as a man. Yeah. But we know, so he wouldn't have said that. He starts it off with like, we know women have done this, and so we're going to punish them. So, but women they would go out and fight. I mean, women cared about this. You can see obviously as much as the men did. And then we know that there were also spies for both sides who were women. There are some famous ones, but the one I'm going to talk about is James Horwood. She was said to be very beautiful, deep red colored hair. And in 1647, so this all ends with Charles being captured. Well, it ends with Charles being murdered. But the war does.
He's so good at what he's doing.
And the thing is, they capture him, and then they spend so long trying to compromise with him and trying to work with him. And he talks them out of making him king again and talks them into murdering him.
Wow. God, what an idiot.
Most incompetent man.
He really does a bad job. And he does a bad job at surviving. But he's in prison in 1647, and Jane tries several times. She comes up with several schemes to break him out. There's coded letters exchanged between them, which we still have, which we have since uncoded most of them. At one point in time, she sneaks nitric acid into his cell to try and eat through the prison bars.
Wow.
But nothing they try is successful. But we do have some of their decoded letters, which reveal that they were having an affair.
Oh, wait. Remind me who this is?
This is Charles and Jane Horwood. She's a spy for the Royalist Army.
Okay.
So they were having an affair, we know. Talk about doing it in the loo.
Gross.
Nasty.
Just
in a 1500s loo.
But yeah, Charles is usually very much talked about as being like this like loyal husband, not like his father, anything like that. But we do know that
he's come on.
Yeah, for a king.
For your loyalty as a man and as a king, it means you're only banging
his wife's in France.
Yeah.
Oh, so, she's all the way on the continent. That's not even cheating.
No, you're right. Yeah. Different area codes, man. So yeah. So she ultimately fails in her attempts to break him out, but she worked for years trying to do it. I don't know how good of a spy she was, but both sides did have spies. Some of them were trying to break up newspapers, things like that. But women were just very involved in the fighting of these wars, as they are, and probably all wars in history. But we just don't hear about them very much. When you listen to like a history of the English Civil Wars, it's about the generals, about Rupert and Fairfax and all these men making these big moves. You don't hear about the woman who's willing to shoot her son to keep him off of the off of the Scottish shore.
And how long did the Civil Wars end up lasting?
So he's captured in 1647, I think. So really, all of the 40s. I think he's killed in 49. All of the 40s, they're fighting these wars, and then the end of it is Oliver Cromwell. You've probably ever heard of him. Oliver Cromwell he's second to Fairfax in the Parliamentary Army, but he eventually, after they kill Charles, he eventually takes over the country. It's kind of the first like democratic republic government in Europe. Well,
I mean, Cromwell basically? I can't remember
it's a military dictatorship
the title
a little
gives
bit
himself, but then he also makes it hereditary.
Yeah,
he becomes a dictator and then makes it hereditary.
Yeah, it starts as trying to be
it's very like it's closer to like French Revolution
it's closer to Napoleon because it starts off being very parliamentarian, but the military is very loyal to Cromwell. So when the parliament ends up being really a bust, they're really bad at it because again, they're all these like spoiled lords as well.
Lords,
I just imagine comparing Cromwell to Napoleon just made everybody mad. Nobody liked that.
Yeah, but he eventually is like, well, you're doing a really bad job, so he takes over. But then he dies, and when he dies, everybody kind of goes, okay, well, we tried parliament, we tried military dictator. You know what worked better? A monarch. And so they bring in Charles II, Charles the First's son, and they put him on the throne, which has its own. That's fraught with its own drama, but that's we did take a little dip in English history out of the monarchy.
Yeah,
they murder him, they chop off his head, and he right down to the last second, he's like, nope, not compromising. I deserve to be like you guys are wrong, and I'm going to die for it.
There is, I guess, something kind of noble about that.
It's
really stupid because the compromise is like. Not a
Let
big
us
deal
have our own
in this
books.
case.
Like,
yeah. Like we just want to read our own religious book.
But so we take a little dip and then we go right back to the same line. But he would have been king anyway.
I mean, Rome is full of that kind of swing too, where it's like the Senate is in charge, things get worse. There's an outcry for a dictator. The dictator takes over, restores order. And then the next dictator is a nightmare, and it swings back to the Senate.
Spoilers.
We can never figure it out. Spoilers
for Rome.
Yeah, one, spoilers for Rome. I haven't seen season 2 yet. I don't know what happens at Polo. But also
he was referring exclusively to the HBO series. Yeah. That's what Ian was talking about.
I love that show.
There is a little dip in the in my critter. My critter has a dip too.
Oh, you got a dip too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you have a dippy critter?
Information from mine came from Pure Wit by Francesca Peacock, as well as several podcasts, one called Revolutions.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Really interesting.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. Well, thank you, Ellie. That
Thank
was
you. Yeah,
fascinating.
incredibly fascinating.
We're gonna do a little. I was about to say Chinese fire drill, but I don't know that is
racist.
a thing we can say.
That's
Also, we're not changing seats, are we?
We are changing seats.
Oh,
that's the presenter seat.
All right, let's do it.
And also, my butt is asleep, so we're gonna switch Rooney.
Okay.
Everybody go.
I wish it was easier to
Transition.
Oh, transition noises. Okay, well, we are going to jump ahead a couple centuries from that fascinating story about women.
On a lighter note.
On a lighter note, it's an Ian topic. It's not going to be a lighter note. I take you now to the year 1947, to the port and docks of Texas City, Texas. Okay. You don't have to close your eyes.
Texas City, Texas is
I
a
know.
place.
Texas City, Texas.
That's lame.
Yeah, right? That sucks. It's a little before 8 a.m. on April 16th. Local longshoremen had been loading sacks of fertilizer into the hull of the SS Grand Camp for days. A dock worker on a break finished his cigarette, tossed it, and returned to work. And a few minutes later, while loading the final bags of fertilizer, workers noticed smoke in the hull.
Oh, no.
A little bit after that, the SS Grand Camp exploded and blew up almost the entire port, the chemical plant, and the oil refinery next door. The blast created a 15-foot tsunami and a shockwave that leveled over 1,000 buildings. 5,760 tons of the ship's steel were blown at supersonic speeds in every direction, and flames quickly spread throughout the city. Official estimates came to a total of 567 deaths, including all the crewmen of the Grand Camp, as you might imagine, and all but one firefighter on the scene. It's actually really sad because apparently fires were really common in these docks. So it was like a local pastime for residents to come watch the firefighters in action. And the tsunami killed almost all of those people.
Oh.
The Grand Camp's anchor was found 1.6 miles inland from the explosion. Yeah. It rendered over 2,000 people homeless and injured more than 5,000 people. Folks were blown off of their feet on Galveston Island over 10 miles away. And windows were reportedly shattered in Houston, 40 miles away. And that I don't even understand or believe. But that was in the...
I think a kid just broke a window.
They're like, didn't want to get in trouble. I have trouble believing it, but I found that in multiple articles. So, yeah. Okay.
How was the glass toward the explosion?
Flaming bundles of rope and other cargo landed on nearby vessels, catching alight the boats which had not immediately been obliterated in the explosion. And a few hours later, a ship named the High Flyer, which was also full of fertilizer, exploded and blew up the remaining buildings on the dock. This is widely considered to be the biggest industrial accident in U.S. history. And the cause of all of this, as you might have guessed, was the fertilizer being loaded aboard, specifically 2,300 tons of ammonium nitrate. Now, let's back up a little bit to 1933, and we're moving all the way over to Japan, where a man named Tsuzo Takata, I'm sure I pronounced that flawlessly, founded a textile company that began to produce lifelines for parachutes for the Japanese military.
I believe it's Takata.
Takata. Tasudo Takata. They did pretty well, what with the onset of the war and increasing demand for their products. But the war didn't go so well for Japan. As you know, that's not a surprise to you.
What happened?
Which war?
So Takata decided to pivot in the 1950s and began researching and producing seatbelts for cars. The Takata Corporation created Japan's first crash test plant, which is kind of fun.
Oh.
By the 1990s, Takata Corp was a multinational giant in the, quote, passive restraint system space, which is seatbelts, airbags, anything that triggers automatically. In 1991, the Intermodal Surface Transportation Efficiency Act mandated that all vehicles be produced with dual front airbags, although it took until 1998 for this to take effect in the U.S. and to be fully rolled out. The rest of the world eventually followed suit, and by 2006, it became a worldwide standard to have airbags, which kind of blew my mind that it's that recently. Yeah, the EU didn't institute regulation for all new manufacturing production for dual until 2006.
That seems really
right. And I think why is because airbags were actually invented in the 50s, and a lot of cars had been implementing them. A lot of auto manufacturers had been experimenting with them as early as the 70s. And throughout most of that time, car manufacturers would just produce them themselves. But in the 80s, Takata stepped up and started mass producing them wholesale. So let's spend a minute talking about airbag technology and why I started this conversation with ammonium nitrate. Now, you might think, since we're a podcast about designing things, we're going to deep dive into the design and the guy who created airbags. We are not going to do that.
Which is why it's a culture critter.
Instead, we are going to talk about the largest automotive recall in history and the estimated millions of vehicles that are still riding around our country and the world today with what are effectively hand grenades strapped to the inside of their steering wheels. Okay? It's not good. This is going to be one of few of our episodes that has a call to action at the end. The 1998 rollout obviously created a massive demand for airbags, and there are suppliers to car companies racing to produce the most efficient airbag systems possible. Now, airbags are basically made up of three parts. There's a bag. It's usually made of nylon, and it actually has little holes in it so that it deflates better on impact, which is cool. It's all folded up in there, as you know. Have either of you triggered? You super have, Ellie. Like so many, it's just like her favorite thing to do. I have, and it's terrifying and smelly. It smells like fire. And a city bus tried to kill you a couple years ago.
No airbag.
Oh, that's not a good sign. Hey, you got hit from behind.
Unless you have one of these airbags.
Oh my God. For real, that might have been a thing. You might have been dead. Okay. Spoilers. So, the bag made of nylon.
Wait.
There's a crash sensor built into the steering column, which has an accelerometer built into it. And it's usually programmed to trigger around 30 miles an hour. And of course, there's the all-important inflator. The inflator has a very difficult job to do. It's got to fill the airbag in a matter of milliseconds, such that the bag comes out at about 200 miles an hour. But it can't be so good at doing that the bag breaks your face and neck.
Yeah, how is it okay to be hit with something at 200
It's
miles
often
an hour?
not. It's often not, but it's usually better than dying. So that's the math, right?
Okay.
And so it's got to walk that line of being explosive but also gentle, right? And also the gas that it creates can be toxic.
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't be great either, because now you're trapped in a car full of toxic gas. Yeah. And there's a lot of things that can explode and create gas quickly, but some of it is like chlorine. So usually you want something that can be explosive but leave an inert gas such as nitrogen. So for a while, tetrazole became kind of the standard fuel that was being used, but tetrazole is massively expensive to produce. So in the 90s, Takata started buying up all these other corporations and companies of like all over the space, in like aerospace and all over, looking for patents that they could use to create an alternative. And they landed on using ammonium nitrate. And they created what they called a high gas yield non-azide gas generant. All right.
I know exactly what that is.
Okay.
Explain it to Ellie.
It's there. It's right there.
Yeah.
High gas yield.
That's good.
Yeah.
You want a lot of gas.
Non-azide.
Non-azide.
We don't want azide.
None of the three of us know what that means.
No, but I know we don't want it.
Yeah, we don't want it. And it gas generant, which I can relate to personally. So
they could have just used you.
Now, if you are,
too much azide. Yeah.
If you grew up in Orlando or are a huge nerd, then you know a little bit about rockets and space stuff. And you know ammonium nitrate is used in things like solid fuel rocket boosters, like the ones in the space shuttles. And it's really, really good at being a stable fuel source because it burns evenly, right? And that's functionally what these little inflators are. They're little rockets that shoot gas and exhaust in the direction that you want them to, which is towards the bag, which is at your face, right? Now,
it feels less safe.
I feel so much less safe.
They are terrifying. Yeah. Quick note, a lot of them use gold because it's such a reliable conductor and it has to operate. Yeah, it's really cool. Very, very small amount of gold. But Takata had quality control engineers flagging this immediately. Ammonium nitrate is, on paper, great for this, but famously very volatile. See Texas City, Texas story. So one of these engineers was actually horribly injured in a car fire test of one of these inflators that they were producing, and they reported it. They realized that ammonium nitrate really cannot handle temperature swings, as might be experienced by, I don't know, a car fire. Because it gets increasingly unstable when exposed to moisture, and any amount of temperature swing, just natural ones, can cause condensation, which immediately starts to erode the fuel source and can break down the fuel. And once unstable, instead of burning in a consistent pattern, sending exhaust in the direction that you want it to go, in a predictable direction, which is out the front, the exhaust had a tendency to just rupture the steel canister housing, resulting in shrapnel, kind of like how fragmentation grenades work. So Takata instituted internal policies in response to all of this, right? Which is what you should do when your engineers flag problems. You should make new policies. Unfortunately, the policy that they decided to go with was to ban the word explosions from being used in any reporting, insisting that these test results instead be referred to as high-energy rapid disassembly events. Their solution to the moisture problem was to put in...
No, you can't.
high-energy rapid disassembly events.
That is...
Yeah, pretty crazy.
That's such an amazing use of language.
Just to save some words.
Their solution to the moisture problem was to pack the canisters with desiccants, like those little packets that say "do not eat."
Do not eat.
Yeah.
Shoes.
In the canisters, and they sent the product into mass distribution. They also closed the lab of the engineers conducting those tests and fired everybody.
Yeah. NARS.
Yeah. Much of what we now know about what would become known as the Takata Airbag Scandal is thanks to one dude named John Keller, who was fired from this lab. He was there when the engineer got injured and saw the whole thing.
I don't want to be racist, but he doesn't sound very Japanese.
Yeah, he's not. So at this point, Takata is multinational and has manufacturing plants in Mexico, a bunch throughout the U.S. They bought up a ton of other companies. They merged with a German company in the early 2000s. They're all over the place. So John Keller was mad about this and kind of made it his personal life crusade to get every one of these off the road that he can and wage war against this issue. And we're going to talk a little bit more about him later on. There's a great documentary that he made available on YouTube. It only has 5,000 views. I'm going to link it if we can because it should be seen by more people and it's great. I'll talk about it more in a bit. So from 2000 to 2008, these Takata inflators were installed in over 70 million cars by over 34 car manufacturing companies. The first reported airbag rupture happened in 2004 in Alabama. In 2007, 3 Honda Accord vehicles were reported having airbag rupture. Nobody died, so nothing much came of it. Then in 2009, an 18-year-old cheerleader named Ashley Parham got into a minor fender bender in front of the Carl Albert High School. The airbag deployed, shards of metal ripped through her neck and killed her. Parham's death prompted Honda to issue a recall of 500,000 airbags in its vehicles. And the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, which we're going to, from here on out, refer to as NHTSA, investigated the issue. So they did catch it right away, but they only looked into Honda because Honda made the car and not Takata. And they found Honda's actions to be responsible in how they handled it. Later that same year, a person named Gurjit Rathore of Richmond, Virginia, would die to exploding shrapnel in her 2001 Honda Accord. So even though they had caught wind of it later that year, it happened again. NHTSA would not turn its attention to Takata for another 5 years when another series of reported explosions came to light. A pregnant woman in Malaysia was killed in a 2003 Honda City in July 2014. 2 people in America suffered similar fates in September of that same year. driving a Honda Civic and a Honda Accord. Takata tried to sandbag NHTSA's investigation so much that NHTSA had to issue a $14,000 a day fine for every day that they failed to respond to information requests. After the 10th reported airbag explosion, Takata decided to take action. And by take action...
And not a moment too soon.
I mean...
What did they call it this time?
I mean, they decided to form their own independent panel to investigate the problem rather than working with NHTSA.
Yeah.
To lead it, they actually hired the former Transportation Secretary, Samuel Skinner. And this would turn out to be a bit of a mistake for them.
Mm-hmm.
The panel's conclusion was that Takata had effectively no quality control or safety procedures whatsoever. The report, which is 47 pages long and a dry read, noted
shade to Samuel what's his face
that they listen. This is the work that we put. I just want to highlight the effort put into this. Noted that they often loaded the ammonium nitrate propellants by hand in their factories rather than any kind of automated process, which meant moisture is getting in the very beginning of just making them, let alone being exposed over time. Let me move forward, by the way. Oh, I have not talked about my visuals at all. This is the Texas City aftermath. This is what they look like. They're just little canisters packed with solid discs of ammonium nitrate.
How big is that?
They're like this big tubes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There you go. That's what happens when they explode. Yeah.
I don't think...
Sorry, not explode.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to use
when they rapidly disassemble.
There you go.
Please excuse me.
Yeah.
They rapidly disassemble.
Isn't that insane? Yeah. Okay, so
also,
they found...
Imagine putting together your own committee to investigate you, and they still find you guilty.
And they make you look so much worse.
Bad.
Yeah. It's crazy. They also determined that they had no standalone program to track product quality once the airbags were installed in vehicles, meaning once they got purchased by the car manufacturer, Takata was like, yeah, out of our hands. Like, if trusting that they would flag any issues, right? And knowing that they would get away with it.
Gosh.
So yeah, as you noted,
Ford is definitely going to take the responsibility to test this properly.
We know.
And Ford bought a bunch of these. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We know from our own studies that Ford is high on quality control.
So at this point, this is really the first time that the blame was properly settled on Takata for these explosions. And Takata was forced, rapid disassemblies. And Takata was forced to recall 35 to 40 million inflators. Millions of people took them up on this and took their cars into local dealerships to swap these inflators out.
What year was this?
This is now 2014, 15, and 16.
Yes. In 2015, I purchased one 2012 Nissan Versa.
Yep.
In 2016, I got a letter in the mail that my airbag was probably going to murder me if I got into a car accident. And so I took it into the dealer and they replaced it. And in 2019, I got into a major car accident on the highway.
Yeah. Thank God.
In that car, which was totaled.
Yeah.
So,
this might have happened to you.
Yeah. So if I hadn't have taken that letter seriously when I got it in the mail in 2016, I would have been in a much worse position.
Yeah. Now, so it's pretty scary. It doesn't happen to all of them, right? Like, there are millions of these going out and dozens of these incidents, but still, it's way too many.
I'm just really wondering.
Yeah,
if that bus should have blown me up.
Yeah,
here's the thing.
Very possible.
Rapidly decompressed me.
Rapidly
disassembled you. All right, so
there are three of this. I had no knowledge. You started studying this before.
Yeah,
we did not collude on this. Of the three, there's three of us sitting in this room. It directly affected at least one of us.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The numbers here are serious.
Yeah.
And people should take this seriously if they might be in one of these cars.
Yeah. We'll talk about what you can do about it in a second. So they recall 35 to 40 million of these inflators. And this immediately leads us to the second stage of the problem. What does one do with 40 million pipe bombs? Right? These things are piling up in dealerships all around the world. And it's Takata's responsibility to retrieve them and deal with them properly.
Well, historically, they're very safe.
Yeah, and they take this very seriously, their public duty. Their solution for how to do this was to have these dealers put them in cardboard boxes, right? Step one. Put those cardboard boxes in big piles of other cardboard boxes full of inflators.
Very safe.
About 250 per pallet.
Yeah.
Put those boxes on a pallet. Saran wrap those boxes together.
Keeps out water.
You can't rapidly disassemble saran wrap.
Put those pallets
Have you tried?
in basically FedEx trucks. Just regular ass shipping trucks.
Yep.
All right. They are not being with any amount of care. They're just being loaded in shipping trucks all over the country.
Dump them in the nearest lake.
Yeah. I'll be including a link to this video. There's a far more successful person on YouTube than we're probably going to be, named Joe Scott, who did a great video breakdown of this. And I'm just proud of Joe. I've been following him for a long. No, don't do that.
Joe's a great guy.
I've been following Joe forever.
I don't know him.
And he will never know us.
You might.
I'm going to quote from him directly. For some reason, they were not scheduled as class 1 explosive freight, even though a study showed that one semi-truck full of inflators would have 5 times the amount of explosives as was used on the federal building in Oklahoma City. And all of that is just driving around on the highway.
5 times in one
truck. And there were thousands of trucks driving at the same time. Earlier, I referenced the former Takata engineer, John Keller. He has spent years lobbying the Department of Transportation to get them to reclassify the inflators as class 1 hazardous material, but has never been successful. He's been met with just tape and bureaucracy, and it's just a huge lift, and nobody seems to care. The dude has literally been buying up as many of these personally as he can and filling his house with them just to get them off the road. He sold his house and used the money to purchase as many as he could. This is a personal crusade for this guy and his poor wife and their kids.
Who I hope don't live
anywhere near.
Yeah, no, they do. His basement is full of them, and he documents his videos of his tests with them, which he's doing to prove to the Department of Transportation that they should take this more seriously. And in one such video, he conducts what is called the toaster oven test, which he insists is an industry standard test to replicate the conditions. I phrase it that way only because I don't really know, but he did work in the industry, so I'm not like putting that down. I think he's very correct. To replicate the conditions of what an inflator would experience during a car engine fire, which again was how the first guy got injured, right? They put it in a toaster oven, put that toaster oven inside a steel drum. The inflator explodes, ripping through the steel drum, and he found parts of it over 150 feet away from the explosion. That is aimed at your face. Okay?
And it's 2 feet away.
Yeah. Yeah. So every day that the Department of Transportation did not do something about this poorly handled recall, it became more and more likely that an accident would happen, which leads us to an accident. August 22nd, 2016, a truck operated by a Takata subcontractor explodes in Quemado, Texas. Fortunately, it's a small town. There's not that many people, but it did kill one woman and leveled her entire house and injured 4 other people. The whole truck exploded. I couldn't find what happened to the driver, so I don't know what happened there. But the truck caught fire because, again, they don't randomly explode. Truck caught fire and the whole package.
I'm missing. I mean, I don't know what happens. I want to say my suggestion until the end, but they have a really good business opportunity here.
They are bankrupt.
Oh, okay.
The largest recall in automotive history.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
they could have
bankrupt.
made up for it. They have a lot of pipe bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Al Qaeda.
Yeah,
They could
They
have.
don't seem
they
like they
could
have
have
much
pivoted.
moral.
Yeah, that's true.
that's very
So
They
Takata
need to rapidly disassemble a lot of NATO troops.
So Takata's response to this was to release a statement claiming that they had very, very strict safety procedures related to the transportation of their products. Obviously, they did not. And
They
finally,
forgot to put LOL.
it's crazy. So finally, in February of 2017, 3 Takata executives plead guilty to multiple criminal charges for trying to cover up that they knew the airbags were dangerous in the first place. They agreed to pay $1 billion in criminal penalties, including $125 million in restitution to their families and $850 million in compensation to the automakers.
I can't believe the United States government held a company to account.
Yeah.
Like a giant corporation.
Yeah.
They're Japanese. I guess that's
yeah, it's not an American company. They filed for bankruptcy in 2017. Over 67 million airbags had to be recalled from 34 different car makers. They have been attributed to the deaths of 34 people. Weird coincidence in numbers there. Worldwide, and an untold number of injuries. That's just reported ones. Obviously, there have probably been more and harder to tell. A lot of the times it was obvious was because it was a minor accident leading to massive injury, so it was obvious. But who knows how many times in a major accident? Who knows? Yeah. The 3 Takata executives were indicted on wire fraud and conspiracy charges. There's a whole bunch of information there that I left out. But they have not been extradited from Japan, so none of them have served any time. And this is still ongoing, the case. There are still, and this is incredibly important, millions of these things out there on the road now. In fact, it is still possible to buy desiccant-filled ammonium nitrate inflators as replacements for your car. You can just buy them online. NHTSA is confident that a majority of them have been recalled, but there is a very, very real chance that the car you are driving now has one of these Takata pipe bombs aimed at chest level for you. So please, everyone listening, if you own or drive a vehicle, take a minute to go to nhtsa.gov/recalls, and we'll post a link, nhtsa.gov/recalls, where you can just enter your license plate. It's super easy. You don't have to do a VIN number. And it'll pull up whatever recalls your car is eligible for. Fun fact, I did this and found out that while I do not have a Takata airbag, I do apparently have a subwoofer mounted inside my trunk that has been known to short circuit and catch vehicles on fire. So I'm going to have to deal with that. But just do it anyway. Okay, now I wanted to find a narrative to discuss kind of the corporate culture of Japan and the leadership of the company passing through 3 generations of the Takata family and what factors were leading to them, kind of pressuring them into hiding the truth rather than dealing with the problem. But 1, I couldn't find enough information reliably about the culture of this particular company. And 2, I remembered or realized that this isn't like a Japanese cultural problem. We see this everywhere with companies. One of the largest environmental disasters in the world, the BP oil spill in 2010 of Deepwater Horizon, had clear documentation from its engineers citing concerns about the facility's cement integrity and inadequate safety systems. Philip Morris famously suppressed internal findings and funded counter research about cigarettes and their connection to health problems. Ford Motor Company ran a cost-benefit analysis after their Ford Pinto had been found to have a design flaw where the fuel tank, which was behind the rear axle, liked to explode during rear-end collisions. That cost-benefit analysis determined that it would cost the company more to do a recall than to just pay for injuries, settlements, and restitutions, so they decided to go with the latter. Hell, the night before the Challenger explosion, one of the contracting engineering companies called Morton Thiokol, who engineered the rubber seals of the shuttle, received warnings from its engineers that the rubber O-rings would likely fail because of the cold temperatures the day of the launch. They chose to ignore the engineers. They gave NASA the go-ahead. Moisture got into the ammonium nitrate, and we all know how that ended. And worst yet, we have the Union Carbide Bhopal disaster, which is without a doubt the biggest industrial disaster in the history of the world, where toxic methyl isocyanate gas leaked and killed an estimated 20,000 people in India and afflicted 500,000 more with lifelong chronic ailments after Union Carbide suppressed hundreds of internal reports flagging poor maintenance, safety system failures, and undertrained staff. The point is, corporations are heavily incentivized to hide their problems under the scrutiny and pressure of stakeholders. And as Mittens Romney famously said, corporations are people too. And people oftentimes are real shitheads. So to go check out that website and make sure you're not driving a time bomb, please, everybody.
Please do that. I'm thinking about that guy whose job it was. He comes into work one day and they sit him down. They're like, today we need you to think of another more confusing way to say explosion. And And he just had the whole day to brainstorm out.
There was like 6 teams of lawyers. Like, there had to be at least 36 people involved in the process of getting to that phrase.
No, it is an explosion. It does explode. But we need you to say it in a way that sounds like it doesn't.
It's absolutely incredible. Well, there you go. Takata Airbag Scandal. Go check it out.
I don't know. I need to go look to see if I...
We're going to do that after this. We're going to pull up the website. You can plug in your license plate.
My license plate. You know what is weird? I still remember my old license plate.
Yeah.
From the fucking bus car.
You're still mad about it.
I'm still mad about it. I like that car, even if apparently it had a grenade in it.
You don't know that.
I feel like I do. It was, I think, 20...
Yeah.
It was like somewhere between 2012. No, I think it was like 2008 Nissan Sentra.
Oh yeah, I definitely had it.
Yeah. Very, very, very good.
I thought it like used in like 2012, so maybe it was.
Maybe somebody had already done the recall.
Well, no.
My recall happened in 2015.
So yeah, it almost certainly would have. All right.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, be careful. Stay safe, people.
I'm glad it was faulty in a different way.
Yes.
Also broken.
Jesus. All right, let's switch Rooney again.
Okay.
When the wine is drawn, we must have the courage to drink it.
This is about a French guy.
All right.
So, this is sort of a mini episode. Because it is a story about a man and his machine.
Okay.
The machine was designed and built for a singular purpose. It's going to be used only once.
Okay.
It is going to fail in its objective. It is going to kill 18 people and injure 22 more.
Hell yeah. All right.
This is probably the best possible outcome.
I'm so excited.
Because this machine is designed to assassinate a king.
Oh. Yeah, okay. Jesus.
The cranium.
It's incredible.
This is a completely normal looking regular human being.
That is an alien.
Well, he is French and Italian, so, Giuseppe Marco Fieschi.
Okay.
Fieschi. Some.
Fici.
No, Fieschi.
I'm pretty sure it's Fici.
I think it's pronounced Louvre.
Louvre. So Giuseppe is born in December of 1790 on the island of Corsica, which is a French territory.
Right.
He spends his youth mostly working as a shepherd. His family is very poor, but everybody around him considers him to be a pretty smart child. His mother teaches him how to read. And he basically comes of age during the First French Republic.
Mm-hmm.
And he is 14 when Napoleon declares himself to be emperor.
Yeah.
So at a young age, a little over 14, he runs off, joins the Grand Army, and has the time of his life when they go to invade Russia.
Yeah.
That goes well. And then after 1814, when they come back, we're just going to skip over that whole part.
That's fine.
It's great, right? After 1814, when Napoleon loses a few more battles and gets shipped off to Elba, he leaves the army for about a year.
It's not fun anymore.
Yeah, no.
Russia, that was fun.
Russia was fun, but yeah, coming back. So in 1815, he joins up with Joachim Murat. Murat. He does this because Napoleon, surprise, comes back.
Yeah.
Now, here's a weird thing that happens, and we need to break this down because I need to digress a little bit to talk about Murat for a second here.
Okay.
He initially supports both the revolution and then Napoleon's rise to power. From Napoleon, he earns the title Admiral of France, Marshal of the Empire, and also becomes King of Naples.
Whoa.
Napoleon also names him the first horseman of Europe, which just seems like that's fun.
It's fun.
This is good, clean fun.
But Murat is sort of a douche. As anybody who supports the French Revolution and then becomes the monarch does. So when Napoleon starts to lose in like the latter days of like 1814, he immediately flips. He does it because he wants to keep his crown. So once Napoleon shipped off and the Congress of Vienna meets and restores the House of Bourbon to the French throne, they in turn sort of dispute his claim to the throne of Naples.
Yeah, sure.
So now that he's on shaky ground, he tries to get back in Napoleon's good graces when Napoleon returns and starts fighting again.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
He loses a couple battles. By the way he tries to get back into Napoleon's good graces is as King of Naples, as the city of Naples, he just declares war on Austria.
Rules.
So of course he loses.
I didn't know you could do that.
You can. If you're King of Naples, you can do whatever you want.
That's incredible.
I might declare war on Austria.
Yeah.
So
he loses. He flees to Corsica, where then he tries to plan another invasion to go back to Italy to retake Naples.
Yeah.
He tries this. He loses, he's caught, and he's executed. The reason I bring all this up is Giuseppe is part of his crew of around 1,000 people who go back to Naples. And despite his leader getting captured and executed, Giuseppe is fine. And it's probably because he was a spy this whole time. At some point, he was
for who? Napoleon.
For the Bourbons.
For the Bourbons.
So
this guy's all over the place too.
Everybody's double crossing everybody at this point. It's just like, it doesn't make any sense.
Oh, okay.
Also, there's a lot about Giuseppe that doesn't make a lot of sense. And I don't know if it's because
his forehead for what?
I do not have the full story or there's just a lot of misinformation out there. We'll get more into that in a bit. But so when Murat first flees to Corsica after Napoleon loses again, and this time, and he goes to launch his failed invasion, he sends Giuseppe to Naples to gauge what the people are feeling. And Giuseppe reports back that the people are hungry for your leadership, that they love you, that if you land, the whole city will rise up in support.
Yeah, always trust that. Always trust that.
None of that happens. And it's almost certainly that he was feeding the information to Murat to get him to basically come offer himself to be executed.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
So Giuseppe then spends a few months lounging on Corsica after all this before he goes to Paris. And he starts to try to do what everybody does who just was a spy for the royals. He wants to become a cop. He can't, though. He keeps failing to become a cop. He fails so hard at becoming a cop that he eventually gets arrested for trying to steal a steer. And they put him in prison for 10 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, really harsh.
Wow.
It's a very harsh crime if you're trying to, that's somebody's cow.
Yeah.
This is Les Mis territory.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
you steal a loaf of bread and it's like, well,
exactly.
I'll see you again.
Also, just like Les Mis, while he is in prison, he meets a woman.
Cute.
Named Laurence Petit. Laurent Petit. She is also a prisoner there. But after he gets out in 1826, he moves with her to Lyon. He doesn't marry her, but he does move in with her and her daughter, Nina.
How French.
How very French.
Oh,
He wasn't ready.
This is another picture. This is another picture of him. It's also a very good and reasonable picture of him.
It got worse.
It's from a completely different side.
It's the same outfit, though.
I think these are all. He's only going to be important enough to get pictures taken of him two different times. And it's not. Yeah. So.
Wow.
it's incredible.
So over the course of 3 days at the end of July of 1830, The French decide again that they have enough of the Bourbons. And this is the July Revolution. Over the course of 3 days, King Charles X is forced to flee Paris. He abdicates in hopes that his grandson will be installed. There he's not. The provisional French government puts Louis Philippe on the phone. Philippe?
Louis Philippe. Yeah, I think Louis Philippe. Louis Philippe.
So Louis Philippe is in Louis Philippe. All French people hate me, which is a very terrible.
It's not going to change your life at all.
It will, because I have a lot of respect for the French.
You do.
Yeah, they'll burn shit down for no reason.
That's
great.
true. Yeah, that's true. Anybody who they'll
they want to kill me because I mess up their language a little bit, a lot. I mess it up a lot. Anyway, he is not elected, but installed as a constitutional monarch, which is progress, I guess. We don't know if Giuseppe participated in any of this, but we do know that shortly after this, he moves back to Paris. And he starts to claim that, one, he is a political prisoner of some kind, and that he has a bunch of papers that prove that he has some stuff that he's dealing with. And this, the stuff that he's...
Where did I get those papers?
Well, you do what he did. You forged them.
Okay.
The documentation that he provides to people basically is one that is a list of his exemplary service that he provided under Murat, which we know wasn't. And then another is that he is wanted in Naples still. So I don't know. Both of these documents might be forgeries. Only one of them might be. Not all of them are true.
Yeah.
But he claims to be a political prisoner because it basically allows him to move around Paris like unmolested. Like people are like, oh, well, he's wanted by another foreign government. Give him the freedom to move about. He's obviously a special kind of
boy.
dude. Yeah. Also, I mean,
they probably just didn't want anything to do with him.
Yeah.
So he looks like a
headbutt you.
Yeah. You know who didn't want a lot to do with him?
Napoleon?
No.
Is Napoleon still hanging out, or is he?
No, Napoleon's in St. Helena at this point.
Doesn't come back for all that long.
Well, technically not his stepdaughter because they never got married. But his partner's daughter, Nina, they've been having an affair this whole time. Hey, they never got married. It's all... They're French.
That's really...
The French.
That's
what can you do?
He's also gambling any penny he makes.
It's such a piece of shit.
Okay. He's gambling all the time. He's banging basically his stepdaughter.
Wow.
He keeps getting fired from his jobs because he's bad at them. The one thing is, though, one of the people who fire him, shortly after firing him, he gets cholera. And Giuseppe stops what he's doing and takes care of the guy.
Oh, wow.
So he's not a total piece of shit. He's just mostly kind of a piece of shit. Also, this is where another thing gets complicated because he claims to be very liberal.
Okay.
He claims to be so liberal that a lot of like liberal groups don't let him in.
Okay.
Because they think he's so like outrageously liberal, they assume he has to be a spy.
Okay.
Like he is performing it to a degree that is not real. And he might also actually still like the government in Naples might actually want him dead.
Yeah.
It is so hard to tell.
Okay.
Because his lies are just so mixed in with.
Yeah.
Truth.
Because also he is in Paris, but he might be a legitimist, which is one of the people who support restoring the House of Bourbon over the House of Orleans. But he's in Paris under Louis's government, like, and no one's like stopping it. He also was writing for the La Revolution. So,
oh wow,
he is all over the place in what he believes and what other people think he believes. Personally, I think he believes whatever he needs to believe in the moment to get whatever he needs.
Yeah.
But there's also a ton of conflicting and incomplete information about him. And also most of the information about him is in French. And I am too stupid to know that language. But the one thing that I do know is that by 1835, he has come to really hate Louis Philippe. My mouth is hard. No, it's hard. Like, you know how you need a soft mouth to make good noise.
Yeah.
I don't have that. My mouth is hard, and we all just need to move on. So he may have actually been radicalized in the intervening years, like between 1830 and 1835, because he's been hanging out with very radical company. Pierre Moray is the first who was arrested and tried for assassinating. He was tried, as in put on trial, for trying to assassinate King Louis the 18th in 1816. So Giuseppe, along with Moray and another man named Theodore Pepin, begin to make a plan. And their plan involves the commemoration of the July Revolution. Every year, the king and his family go along in procession. They do a little parade along the Boulevard du Temple. Du Temple?
Du Temple.
Du Temple. To commemorate the July Revolution. And so they know where he was going to be. They know roughly when he was going to be there. So all they need is a way to kill him. And this is where his machine comes in. And the French have a name for the specific thing that he builds.
Just leave off the last letter of whatever, the last letters. Oh.
They call it the Infernal Machine.
Ooh.
Okay.
What you are looking at here is 24 gun barrels, which is going to be loaded with a total of 400 pieces of shot and shrapnel designed to be fired all at once. If you're questioning 24 barrels, how are there 400 pieces of shot and shrapnel in there? It's because they're going to stuff all of it into every barrel.
Every barrel is just full of...
Yeah. They're making every one of these into both like a shrapnel cannon and a shotgun.
How much time did they have to come up with this?
Oh, a long time. They start planning. This is a plan years in the making.
They did no research or testing.
Well, part of it is because Moray and Pepin have money. So in total, they contribute about 500 francs. 500 francs to building this machine. Giuseppe, having gambled most of his money away, doesn't have anything. So he's going to be in charge of building it.
It's reasonable.
He's not a very good engineer.
Yeah. Clearly.
But he does get some help building it.
This must be a replica, right? Because there's no way
this is the actual thing.
How did it survive?
Oh, well, don't worry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Wait, help. What help do you need? He tied some bolts to...
Well, he doesn't. He hired somebody.
He subcontracted that.
Well, he subcontracted pieces of it because to manufacture the actual barrels is difficult. So he got somebody to do it, and they, of course, did a great job making all of the barrels a uniform length.
No, yeah, it was great.
But Giuseppe assembled it all himself, and they built it in place. And in place was going to be the third story of an apartment building overlooking the parade route. The other issue was, in having built it and installed it in place, I couldn't move. And the only way to properly aim it once installed was effectively just by raising or lowering the back of it. So you could basically aim it up and down, but you could no longer pitch it left or right. There was also some design flaws, if you could imagine, of how the barrels were placed. So there's a report by by French engineers.
Just there was a design.
I mean, that's obviously the work of a genius. And somebody put a lot of time and effort into this. Thought very hard about what's going to happen here. A French artillerymen and engineers took a look at this after the events of what is about to happen actually happens. What they determined is that the barrels should have overlapping fields of fire, but Giuseppe arranged so the barrels were all parallel with everything trying to converge at a single point.
That's a crazy choice too.
Yeah.
Why?
Uh,
So instead of having a wide field to work with, they wanted it to time it perfectly so they all converge in a single location.
Yeah.
As the king was doing his
Yeah, because they should have overlapped. Like, it should be one of those things where everything, like, sort of fires out kind of at an angle. So, like, there's a point where it is, like, everything kind of crosses each other, but is closer to you. And then down on the street, it's a wide spray of like, it creates a wall.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
But to get that effect, you have to have the barrels cross each other very nearby.
Right, okay.
So they converge early and then spread.
Okay. I understand.
The French engineers who looked at it said that if this was designed and implemented properly, it would have been able to kill 200 people in the vicinity in front of it, including the king, who would have been turned into mist.
Wow. Okay.
But he didn't do any of that. He boned it up good. So this is the building. This is a drawing of the building where they were at. It was the third story of basically an abandoned apartment. And on the morning of July 28th, Giuseppe is waiting. And Louis Philippe, his sons, and a bunch of military officers are on their way on their parade going down the street. So the king and his whole retinue are crossing in front of him. And the way it's designed, there's a little trench at the back.
Please tell me there's a string to pull.
It would be so great if there was, but there isn't. There's
like a trough
at the back where you put the powder.
Yeah.
And then you light the powder once and it burns down and then quickly ignites all the barrels. And because of the way he designed it, it had to be pretty precise. You had to wait till the king was right there. So he gets ready. He has the black powder all out. He gets his match. He goes to light it, and the powder doesn't take because the powder was provided by Moray, and the powder just isn't good. It's just kind of bad. So he has to try to light it. He ends up blowing on it, and then it finally lights, but it's like a second too late. But the machine then fires. One barrel just wasn't loaded. Because it wasn't loaded because when they manufactured it, they forgot to put a hole in there for the primer and the fuse.
Oh my God.
2 barrels just completely misfire. They just don't go. They were loaded, but they don't go off at all. 4 barrels catastrophically explode.
Of course.
But 17 barrels of this monstrosity fire.
That's incredible. That's so surprising.
Yeah. Louis Philippe. I say his name different Louis Philippe.
No.
Louis Philippe.
That's great. Do it.
Louis Philippe is lightly wounded on his forehead. It's probably from a ricochet.
Yeah.
None of his sons are injured either. His horse is fucked up.
Yeah.
And will die a few days later. A handful of other people, 18 people die in this initial thing, or days later, 22 other people get wounded in some capacity. Giuseppe, because he was in a room where 4 explosions just happened, is fucked. He's so badly hurt. But he's not dead, and he's able to get himself together enough that when the guards of this, it's obvious where this came from. So immediately the place gets torn. They get up to the floor, like the 3rd floor of this building. They kick in the door. Giuseppe has enough wits about him still, and is still like in relatively good enough condition to grab a rope and lower himself and jump out of the 3rd story, where he thinks he's going to escape, and then immediately runs into a guard.
Yeah.
And they capture him and they beat him a little bit, and then they throw him in prison. So you saw what he looked like earlier.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what he looks like a year later.
No.
He has to get 2 of his fingers amputated, probably the 2 that were closest to one of the barrels that exploded.
Oh, he's so moody.
He's very moody.
Yeah.
He is going to spend about a year in jail.
Okay.
And he spends a lot of that time talking to various people. This was a huge sensation at the time.
Sure.
And all the stuff he's saying is just a lot of bolsterous revolutionary talk.
Mm-hmm.
Things like, if the wine must be drawn. You must have the courage to drink it.
Yeah. Wow.
Talking about like, and then saying things like, you know, if they don't have the courage to kill him, he'll just kill himself, and making more threats and everything. When he finally goes on trial, though, he starts to narc on everyone immediately. Just the second he's on trial, just naming names.
Yeah.
Also, he starts naming so many people's names that I'm not sure, again, if he actually believed this.
Yeah.
Or if he's just saying that he believes it. He thinks he's going to be pardoned.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
By the king.
Who he tried to kill.
Murder.
Tried to kill.
Wow.
But the thing is, every one of his co-conspirators gets caught because he just starts naming them.
Yeah.
And they're also bad because they also start to talk.
Yeah.
There are going to be at least 7 different assassination plots that are uncovered because of what he is talking about right now. 7 different plots to kill King Louis
are stopped
because of him talking right now.
Wow.
This is just a breakdown of him and some of the conspirators that he had.
Also, how little confidence do you have to have in your success if you're just like, we're simultaneously going to plan 7.
Yeah.
8. We're going to plan 8 attempts.
Oh,
whichever one doesn't.
This was like, he was talking to the
he was just getting around.
Moray and Pepin, and then they were talking to other people, and they were talking to other people, and then like editors of like newspapers.
So just a lot of different people were trying to kill
30 people
the
are going to be arrested. A bunch of like editors at like revolutionary papers are going to be arrested, but then later released. So this is like going from like revolutionary cell to revolutionary cell,
and each of them have their own.
And each of them have their own plot.
So
funny. And they keep getting uncovered. So on February 19th, 1836, Giuseppe Moray and Pepin all go the way of the flesh via guillotine.
Yeah.
They make Giuseppe go last amongst those 3 co-conspirators so he can just watch.
Rough.
Yeah. And after he loses his head, it is taken for study and for painting.
Rough also.
His machine, as you saw earlier, was still is still kept in the French National Archives. And it's only going to be 12 years before the Second French Revolution completely overthrows the monarchy and installs the Second French Republic. And that's it. That's
so bananas.
And so I remember.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So the sources are historical and biographical sketch of Fieschi by Ovian and Fieschi himself. Talked to him a lot in prison.
Wow.
And then Barricades, the War in the Streets, the War of the Streets in Revolutionary Paris by Palgrave and Macmillan.
Fascinating.
How did he become better looking after they exploded his face and cut off his head?
I mean, he had a bunch of time to recover, I think, by this point, right?
God, wow.
So that's the worst attempt at regicide I've ever read.
That's so
fantastic.
Funny. Okay. Well, thank you for that.
So Louis is just going by on his parade.
He's on his horse celebrating the revolution that installed him as king.
And then behind him, a 3rd-story window and the entire street explodes.
I think it's off to his side. Like, I think he's on the street. He's on the street coming down. And it's like off to his right.
Yeah, but
no, I know, but they missed the timing.
Oh yeah, no, and it just like blows out and just like wiped out the crowd.
Yeah,
it's so crazy.
Incredible.
Also, why not just have men holding rifles?
If you have one gun, if you have one, you got there. Like you had you were within like 20 feet of the dude.
One gun would have been so much better.
Over-engineered and so poorly done.
Instead, you build this machine and you bolt it to the floor, and it's just It's just gun barrels welded to 2x4s.
Yeah,
Also,
and it's totally contingent on this powder lighting on time.
It's
and
also
you buy bad powder.
It's also so funny that because there's no escape plan. His escape plan, which he enacted, was to jump down using a rope
Into guards.
But usually you want to hide the evidence of the assassination, and they bolted it to the floor and made this huge machine.
Yeah.
There's no doubt what it was made to do. And they just left it there. Oh my God, what an idiot. What
They're all
that's so funny.
bad.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. That's so funny. I've never heard of this man before.
So glad I know that happened.
Yeah. Well, this is a bit of a long one, but this is really fun. And I love that we get to kind of just include the little tidbits that don't quite fit in other places. So we're going to do this.
And for me, it was fast research. I knew you took a long time, but you had already done the research.
Yeah, because I wanted it to be a full episode, but it didn't quite make sense. So, and that's going to happen to me. I mean, I have another 4 of these in my head already.
Yeah. I also wanted this to be a full episode, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
It's hard to find.
It's so funny. And he also had, let's be clear, 0 cultural impact.
Yeah.
Everything was I mean, to be fair, his ratting probably foiled maybe one of the 8 attempts.
Oh,
would have been successful.
Louis probably would have died before.
That's so funny.
The one thing is there's a lot of like some tangential and like the basic facts of this that you can find in other books. The core of this information came from like one person writing about it in the time period between the actual assassination attempt, but before the trial.
Yeah.
So it's written as a book, but like almost like a long form
like
interview journalist entry.
Interesting.
And it's one of the, like, I didn't even get into the point where the author of it decided to go off on like a couple page tangent talking about how Giuseppe was very proud of his Italian heritage. And you could tell that because he always carried a blade. Like he always carries a little knife with him because he's Italian, and that's what Italians do.
Yeah.
And I was like, good. That's fun, I guess.
Yeah.
I can't include that. Like, what? So that is like none of this might be true.
Yeah. Who knows? This all come from him.
I mean, he did do it. He tried to do it, and they fucked up real bad, and they built a real stupid thing to do it with. But they call it the Infernal Machine, which is a cool name for something
really cool.
that does, at the end of the day, launch 400 pieces of shrapnel somewhere, generally in front of it.
Mostly in front of it.
Not always.
Not always, and certainly not at the king you're aiming at.
It's incredible. All right. Well, this is great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, hey, you buy.
Oh.
How dare you?
Because it's a critter.
It's a critter? How do we sign off on critters?
Because we normally say love you. Bob.
No, I understand, but that doesn't make. Oh, I like that. Should we just pivot to ASMR?
Get the broom and slap that critter.
That sucks.
I think that's all we do. Yeah, get that broom and slap that critter. Happy.
Not say it again. That soundbite is just being edited.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Bye.